Oh, you know what?
What was up?
I actually brought you a little gift. I just happened to scroll past it.
You are out of your mind. Where did you get this from? And why did you bring it specifically for this?
Yeah, I brought it for you.
Brother, this is the nicest thing in the world. This is what my yapping gets. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Esparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. I hope you guys are in for a good day. If you haven't had one already, we got a guest here he's pretty good. It's kind of like a champion of a brand new organization, kind of won a few fights, no big deal in savage fashion, but we'll get to that in a second. But before we get to him, a couple quick reminders. First and foremost, if you like the show, and I hope that you do, I would love if you head on over to patreon.com. If you go to patreon.com/grappling hour, you can see my interviews 30 days before anybody else. And for a few extra dollars, you can see extra bonus content not available anywhere else, including tape studies with the athletes, which, by the way, we're going to do with this gentleman after we record this interview. You can also see a segment called Roast Draft, where people roast my competition footage. So really, really good stars don't try to tell me how to fix things. They just roast what I did wrong. And, for whatever reason, it's the most popular show content that we have here. I won't talk about that anymore, but you can catch that. And we also do a segment called the Grappling Hour Challenge, where people do their best to try and get a submission on me within a short period of time. Black belts get 2 minutes. Brown belts get 3, I think. I don't know. We're still playing with that element because I don't really want to roll with people longer than 2 or 3 minutes because they're pretty good at what they do. So you can catch that at patreon.com/grappling hour. Also, if you like this merch, and I hope that you do, look at this. This is a Grappling Hour t-shirt. If you want to get one, you can go on over to rafasparza.com/merch. You can get yourself a tank top, a hoodie, a t-shirt, and the tank tops are new. And I understand it is cold, but if you want to show off your questionable gains, we don't question if you take steroids if you have a tank top from the Grappling Hour. Steroids, completely legal and okay. So you can check that out, rafasparza.com/merch. I would also love it if you like, comment, and subscribe to this video wherever you're watching. It really does mean a lot, especially if you share. And if you don't know what you want to comment on about the video, I will give you a prompt at the very end of the show. So worry not, we will take care of you. And last but not least, if you want to continue the conversations we have here on the show, you can check us out at our Discord at Grappling Hour. All right, what do I say about this young man? Well, I've had the honor of interviewing him twice after he has won. The first time when he won his championship, the second time when he defended the championship under duress, one might say, and in truly, truly epic fashion with some incredible finishes. He is the franchise for RFL right now. He is their current champion, the first champion for RFL, we might add. And he's nicknamed the Cannibal, which I guess we got to get to in a second. But first, we're going to welcome Cameron Metcalf. Cameron, welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks so much for having me, man.
It is a pleasure to have you. We trained a whole bunch today. Did you enjoy your training today, sir?
I loved it. I didn't know what to expect coming in, but I think it blew away my expectations.
I'm happy to hear that. And you were an excellent training partner. I got a lot out of us training today as well. I was laughing a lot. You know, I didn't know where you would fall on the trash talk scale.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you would trash talk me back or if you would just kind of like, okay. And you kind of did both.
Yeah.
So are you a trash talker when you are rolling?
I would say, yeah, I can be.
Okay.
I think it depends on my relationship with the person I'm rolling with, you know. Yeah. If it's like a complete stranger, I keep it pretty respectful, but you know, if it's my boys, like my fight team or just anyone I'm close with, I like to tease, you know. I grew up with 4 sisters. It's like in my DNA at this point. Are
you the youngest?
Second youngest.
Second youngest.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's almost like getting all of the worst takes from everybody off that. May I ask,
Yeah.
because again, as a trash talker, what is like the most savage or like what is the burn that you have been like, damn, I'm kind of proud of that one that you have said to somebody else?
Let's see. I don't know if it's appropriate to say on here.
There's nothing that can be inappropriate on this. I mean, unless you're really talking about someone's ethnicity and getting into that sort of stuff.
With friends, we go everywhere.
Okay.
You know, but obviously none of it's serious. I don't know if I can think of anything specific, but if with friends, I like to get pretty personal. You know, like maybe a traumatic experience that happened recently, or like someone passes away. It's like, oh yeah, well, at least they didn't have to watch me do that to you. You know, shit like that. But again, I got to know the people well enough for me to go that far. You know,
You feel like you know me well enough now to talk trash back to me.
at this point, totally.
At this point,
Yeah.
what was the moment that you felt that you had crossed that bridge?
Well, I guess it was once I started to hear your trash talk. I'm like, oh, I see. Not in a bad way, of course, but like I'm like, okay, I see where we're at. Awesome. That's what I prefer.
Is there any one particular trash talk that you felt got to you, or that you felt like, okay, now this is a real game?
It would have had to be the referencing the wrestling moves. I'm like, oh, damn, he got it.
Are you talking about the pins in particular, or were you talking about
the professional wrestling moves?
When I hit that? Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's fair. I am pretty good at those, but I would tell you this. It's that when I talk with a guest and I say I'm going to do something and somebody's like, absolutely won't happen. And I go, well, now it's going to. And there were a couple times when you were telling me like, hey, you're not going to get this. And I go, well, now I want to.
Yeah.
Like you were choosing your own adventure with me. And all I could think of was, I mean, now it's more fun to me to try to do that than any other part of jiu-jitsu. So I felt in our role in particular, great personality, very fun.
Yeah.
And what I liked was you didn't take any of the trash talk personally, but now I know I have to go deeper. I'd be like, yo, your mom passed away. Yikes. Well, you know, maybe you'll be joining her in another 20 minutes. You know, like I don't think I've done those types of jokes, but that's where you told me you've gone. So now I've got to be like, damn, bro, I got to go harder in the fucking paint on this.
Yeah. It's pretty difficult to upset me.
I mean, well, see, again, now I want to. But I would say, by and large, you were so much fun. We went over techniques together at beginning and end.
Yeah.
And it was so cool because I just like how you kept your cool. There was only one moment when I felt like I heard you breathing, like I've seen you in your fights. And I was like, oh, the Cannibal is happening right now. This dude is coming alive. Like it made me laugh because I go, yeah, I've seen you get real dialed in. And I felt like I had it for a minute. Do you think that is accurate?
Honestly, I figure it's probably pretty hard for that part of me to come out when I'm rolling, but I could see that flashes might come through once
like
in a
1
while.
minute.
Yeah.
And we rolled for a lot longer than 1 minute. I'm just saying I saw a preview of what that person is because I'm cage side. I see a lot of stuff that happens up live and close. And when I was watching your fights, I've been like, damn, you're pretty intense, dude. So let's start with this. Where does one get the nickname Cannibal? And second, can we talk about this chain that you have here, sir?
Absolutely.
Please show the people in case they can't see it. So show it. That's your camera.
Oh, that's right. So this is a necklace that says the Cannibal on it, that my girlfriend actually gifted to me the night I won the first belt. So she's always given me all my cool stuff. It's from her, honestly. So I was like, I have to wear this today. You know,
it goes with the brand, and that's who you are. But how did you become the Cannibal?
So my second fight for UNF in Lancaster, I've always done the whole kind of like intense thing I do before the fight, just brooding and stuff. I'm pretty good at flipping that switch on, but there was like no name for it, you know. But I was interviewed after my fight, and they're like, "Yeah, we were right next to you. Looks like really intense, dude. Like, where's that come from?" And I was like, "Oh, that's something I've always done." And then I started talking about how I could see my opponent. It was an interesting venue. It was a great venue, but it was interesting. Like we weren't next to each other, but I could look down the way and see him. While I was doing my thing, I was just staring at him. I could see him look at me, and then I saw him like trying to not look at me again. I was just staring him down, and I was like, yeah, I wanted to feel like an animal. I wanted to feel like a cannibal. I wanted to feel like I was going to eat him alive. And I think I referenced Apocalypto and stuff because I had watched that the night before.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of stuck. People loved that video. And then I think it was James Baya, my teammate. Because sometimes after practice, we just be shooting the shit, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, you don't even have a nickname yet," something like that. And he was like, "The Cannibal," and yeah, that sounds kind of nice and suits me. So then they all just started calling me the Cannibal. I didn't want to be the person to dub myself, but I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll be the Cannibal."
I mean, that's not how nicknames work. You can't give yourself a nickname.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, everybody would have a glowing nickname.
Yeah.
Because that's the weird part about certain nicknames, especially the Brazilians. When they refer to somebody as shoe face, I was like, that's the best you got? It's like, there's no way in hell I'd ever give myself shoe face.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here? And then all of a sudden he has to go with it. He goes, I mean, I guess that's who I am. So for you, I like the alliteration. I like Cam, the Cannibal.
Yeah.
So to me, that just naturally floats off the top. I will say, I feel like they got a different version of you in that interview experience than I got. Because I think what happens is, yes, you get into that zone, you get locked in. But then I get like a very nice, easygoing dude. And it actually threw me off because I was like, do I need to be intense with them? Like, how do I set you up better is what I'm thinking of as an interviewer. And the first time we meet, I felt it was under duress because people were booing you.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you feel when they were booing you when you had won a championship?
Honestly, I thought it was kind of fun. I like playing both parts, like having the whole crowd behind me, these local fights, because most of my fights beforehand were pretty far. So granted, people are the best. My people are the best. They always come out and support, but not quite as much as like Tarantula Hill. Like man, Blair is incredible. But like say in my last fight in San Luis Obispo, before that one, I was fighting a guy that was from San Luis Obispo. So we had a bunch of people, and my girl and my friends that tell me pretty funny stories about that. They happened to be sitting right next to these people in the crowd, and they were talking shit. My friend bet some guy, and he actually bet him, and then the guy tried to him with money. He's like, "Bro, you didn't know you're getting into. You're good." And so then, I walk in, they're all booing, just doing their thing, like, and I'm can't wait to kill their boy. And then their guy comes in, they're screaming for him really loud. We have our fight. It was a pretty short one. I think it was a first round finish, so it was a short one, and they just all so loud, and I just heard the silence like once I started taking over, and I'm like, hell yeah. And then after the fight, I like jumped and bent over the cage. I'm like, I can't hear you motherfuckers now, blah, blah, and then they just took off, So I like playing that side too. It's fun. I like any kind of energy. There's no such thing as bad energy when you're in the cage, like I'll play whatever I'm given. So the booing didn't bother me.
Okay. I want to tell you my interpretation because to me, you seemed like a heel.
Yeah.
And then your words didn't fit being a heel. So it was a mix to me. And I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. So there was a part of me that was just like, are you a heel? Are you a face? How could I help you? And so what I saw was I was starting to go more to the heel route and being like, what's going on? What are you hearing? Like giving you a second. And then you had the most babyface heel version of it, which was, I can't hear you guys. I can't hear you guys with all this gold on me now. You know what I mean? And I go, it's kind of a baby face cut. Like, I don't know how to tell him this. He's not a true heel. And so there was a part of me that was like, am I getting mad at this kid for not being a big enough heel? And then I thought, I'm like, he's an amateur. Let's try to help him. And then you were just so nice, so affable. And I thought, okay, cool. You have what's called in-betweener status. So you could either go the heel route or the babyface route. Which do you prefer?
That's a great question. I guess I would have to ask, by babyface route, you mean like the hero, like the good
guy? Okay. Pro wrestling. This is where I have to educate you. Pro wrestlers, there's a heel, the bad guy, and the baby face. The baby face is like your John Cena, your Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
They always have to do the good guy thing.
Yeah.
Then you have different branches of it. So obviously heels, bad guys.
Yeah.
So much more fun to be the heel.
Yeah.
Now, granted, then you have the anti-hero babyface, which is your Stone Cold Steve Austin, where they like tell you F authority, I'm going to do this, don't listen to that guy.
Yeah.
So there's different realms you can go into, but traditionally those are the archetypes, if you would.
Hearing those, I would say I would probably relate most to the Steve Austin one, you know?
I would think so too.
Yeah.
The problem is Steve Austin wouldn't be sitting there being like, I can't hear you over that booze. You know, he would just be there being like, you keep that up, you paid to see me. You know?
Yeah.
That's kind of where it is that I feel you need to evolve to.
Yeah.
But I was so transfixed that I didn't know if I was dealing with a good guy or a bad guy. And then I was just like, okay, cool. I saw you backstage. I saw you the way you were interacting with people. After it had all come down, I was like, he's actually a pretty nice kid. I hear word on the street. They're like, I think he's more of a heel. And I was like, I don't know enough. I see you in your second fight.
Yeah.
Awesome. You get it done. We'll get to that fight in a second. We'll talk through both of those fights. But then at the end of that fight, I was intrigued enough to say, hey, I'd love to do an interview. Would you like to do one? And then the facade ended. You were the nicest guy. And I go, oh, he's really a baby face. But he has the ability to get people emotionally invested. And that's currency in the fight business, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's get into these fights. They booed you at Tarantula Hill in the moment that they're putting that championship belt on to you. But for you, now that we have some space and some time to think about it, what did it actually feel like for you to have finally won a belt? Because your experience goes longer than just MMA. It goes into wrestling. But for you in that moment, what did it really feel like as you, a person, not having to answer all those boos?
You know, I mean, the way that fight went too, it was not as sweet as I had wanted it to be, you know?
The first fight?
Yeah.
That I saw you for RFL, right?
Yeah, because it was a pretty early stoppage, you know?
Okay.
Granted, I don't think much would have changed had he let it go 10 more seconds, but you always want everything to be perfect.
Okay, let's get into that though. These are amateur fights. So I have a philosophy that we do want to err on the cautious side. So maybe the boos were from the perspective of they felt like the fight was stopped too early.
Yeah.
But instead, they're booing you. So that's why it's so weird to take them seriously, because it's like, you did a good job. So you deserve some adulation for that. But for you, you thought you could have been better, or you thought that you wanted to have more of a final finish? Like in your head, what is the perfect version then?
You know, assuming the fight goes the same way it did, me getting to unload on him a little more. I think I even mentioned in the interview, I wish I could have punished him more, because the dude missed weight by 27 pounds, I think.
Okay. Let's also talk about that, because I'll be honest with you. As an interviewer, you usually want to ask those questions. You want to give you the opportunity to say that. But I didn't think it was going to help you that night. So let's get into that. What was your reaction when they told you he was an absurd amount over?
I was furious. I was so mad because, one, all the work I had put in to get to there, fight camp, you know, overcoming all the behind the scenes adversity and stuff. But also, dude, I sold so many tickets to that fight. I was like, there's no way I'm not. You know, like that. Yeah, I was furious. And he came up to me and tried to like apologize. Like, I don't know what happened. It's like, bro, don't fuck you. There's no way you don't know that you're 30 pounds over.
Yeah.
You know? So I was like, I'm not stupid, dude. Whatever. Let's make sure this fight happens. And then, so I think he came in 17 or 20 pounds overweight at weigh-in. And then they're like, okay, you can't gain any weight. And they turn to me and they're like, you have to gain weight in order for this to be like out or whatever. I don't know what exactly, but I'm like, all right, I'll go gain weight. No problem.
How much weight did you have to gain?
They said at least 8 pounds or something.
Okay.
But that's easy for me. I'm a glutton, you know. Sorry for me to do clean, but I did it. And then I come back. I'm like exactly as heavy as they told me to be. And the dude gained more weight than I did. He gained like an extra 10 pounds. So he ended up being 27 over by the time we came back and had to weigh ourselves again. And I'm like, I don't know the rules for camo and all that. I'm like, is this fight going to get canceled? Like, I'll fight him if he's 100 pounds over at this point. I don't care. But will they let us fight? And, you know, things worked out. Shout out to everyone involved for helping it happen. But yeah, I've never been more mad at an opponent, you know?
Okay. So perhaps that context helps to give more education or reason why you wanted to have a more definitive finish.
Absolutely.
Because you felt like you wanted to get some of that energy out of your system, because in the fight world, not we're saying he's a bad person, but in the fight world, that is a form of disrespect if you don't come in at the agreed upon weight.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a fair thing to be able to say. The part that I see that you didn't was, I didn't necessarily see an issue with the stoppage. And the difference is because I'm not you.
Yeah.
I'm not the person that experienced what you experienced. I'm watching it from an outsider's perspective where I go, I think he's done enough. And maybe people might feel a certain way, maybe because it's a title fight. But I feel like the whole prospect of the amateur side is we want people to be healthy enough to go and train sooner than later, not be hurt, not be injured. So to me, I was like, I've seen enough. We're good.
Yeah.
And the fact that at that point I knew he had missed weight, not the full extent of it. When you start trying to mess with that much weight, it doesn't take much to fuck with you anymore. So stopping it early, you're right, might have saved him from some other injuries that would have happened.
Yeah.
But it also would have fucked him up worse, because the weight cut's one fight. He lost that one. Then losing a physical fight where he can take so much damage has potential for a lot more permanent damage. So I do see why they stopped it when they did, honestly.
I understand why they did as well. Like, nothing against the ref or anything. Yeah. He did his job. And again, like you said, for amateurs, it's like not getting paid.
Yeah.
Unless you got sponsors or anything. You got to protect us. But yeah, I definitely just wanted to do more, you know? Yeah. And then also, I mean, you know, you're always your own biggest critic.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't had a single fight where I watch it back and I did my fucking thing. I'm like, oh man, this is not my best work, you know?
I mean, the wild thing to me is I have been cage side for 2 of your fights, and I thought you looked really good in both.
Thank you.
And I feel like what's cool about us training is, in training, I can see things and we can exchange information. I can say like, hey, have you thought of this? Or that's cool. What do you do here? Like me picking your brain while I'm also giving notes or saying like, I don't know if this is helpful. And what's great about that is that's the time to nitpick. And it'd be different if I watched your fights and thought, hey, we need to fix this.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm like, you show a good recognition of what to do in bad spots or in good spots even, that I'm like, no, he's very suited for fighting. So I feel like in that regard, the advice I always give to people is take away what you can in the most effective use of your time. So if you're watching a fight and you're like, damn, that's not as good as I could be. It's like, well, you won. So acknowledge that.
Yeah.
2, what are the areas you want to improve? And then 3, how quickly can you improve upon that? What's the 6-week plan? What's the 1-week plan? What's the 6-month plan to make sure that you become better at those things? That's more important to me than being like, oh God, I got to watch this fucking finish again. This rear naked choke isn't even fully on. Who cares? It sucks. Where I'm like, I don't know, man. You look pretty good in doing it. So that's the part I like to give us some advice to young fighters, especially those who have gold around their fucking waist and their shoulders. So within limits, fix what you need to fix. But you end up finishing that, and then you're right back to work. Now, they had told all of us February was the next date, and then they sneak one in December. And as the franchise, what was that call like when they said, hey, we might need you? Because I thought maybe you might be done. You don't have to if you've already won a title. You could take the time off.
Yeah, I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. Because honestly, I was looking at what other organizations were having something in December. I planned on fighting one more time this year. So regardless if it was for Regime or Our Star or UNF or whatever, I just wanted to get one in. So Regime was like, we're doing it. I'm like, hell yeah, let's fucking go.
Which is, by the way, batshit in one way, because it's already October when you won the title, late October, and you're looking around being like, anybody got any more like fights we can get in on?
Yeah.
Like, I'm feeling froggy right now. I want to get in on this. And I'm thinking to myself, bro, go on vacation. You're done for the year. You already know you're likely going to be on that February card. So it wouldn't be unchampion-like to do it, but here you are. You show back up and you have a great thing. So you had mentioned there had been some adversity the first time. Was there some adversity you had to overcome for this next fight that you had in December?
Oh, yeah. A lot of stuff that honestly just carried over, stuff that I was still taking care of. But, adversity is great. Makes you grow. And then, of course, in the cage, I'd never been dropped before, so that was, and like we were speaking about earlier, it was a perfect time for it to happen again. And not taking away anything from, I believe his name was Mike. He's very game fighter. He was awesome. He was good. But the reason he dropped me, I feel like was totally my fault. I got a little lazy, and then when I threw my left, I dropped my hand here, and he cracked me with an overhand. Great punch, but it was my fault it landed. But it was a great time to experience that because not that there was low stakes. It was a championship fight, but it's amateur, not pro yet. It's much better to be able to experience something like that for the first time now than like a year or two when I'm working towards being like, getting a belt as a pro, trying to build myself. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? This has never happened. And, all my opponents are only going to be getting better, So if I'm against a freaking killer and he drops me in the first round, I've never experienced something like that before. What am I going to do now, And luckily, I bounced back really well. But also, I think just it definitely changed the rest of the fight. I was like, oh, first off, I need to pop up instantly, and I'm going to take him down because I don't know if need time to recover or not, But now I think, now that I've gone through that, and I didn't necessarily want to take another one of those shots.
Yeah.
But now that I've gone through that, I think if that were to happen again, hopefully it never does. Pretty big, hopefully. But I think I'll be much more prepared. I'll be like, okay, shit happens. I'm fine. We get back up, keep boxing him, Or if I want to wrestle, I'll wrestle him. But I won't feel like, oh, I don't want to be in this position again in a couple minutes,
Yeah, it's let me put some context to this as well, because when he's just like, you were talking about that, no better time than now. I was just saying that from the perspective of, it seems like you have a good trajectory, and that if you're going to be tested as an amateur, that's a great moment to really see, one, what you're made of. Two, it builds awareness on what do you do? What do you like? Because some people get popped the very first time and they shell up, and you didn't. So that was A, good to know. B, we don't want to take shots like that. So knowing, hey, I dropped a certain way like this. My hand should have been here. It should have been this. Cool. But your instincts were right on. And the way that you worked, now having rolled with you, I could see why the resolve was so good. I could see why it was like, okay, you went into the same systematic thing that I saw when you were in trouble spots here. And I was like, those are the makings of a very good fighter, especially if they're working their way to a professional level, because it's a can't die attitude.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a hard person to put away. So, you know, there were moments when even we were rolling and I was just like, oh shit, he's digging deep right now. Okay. I got to find a more creative thing to do because he's just not going to stop. He's going to give everything he can at this moment or this. So it's less trying to meet him there and trying to beat you strategically with different things. And it made me had to change my game. And then I imagine I'm like, this is just rolling. We're just having a fun roll. If I had to fight you, that could be a very dangerous weapon as somebody can have on your side. So I thought I was watching you cage side. And I swear to God, the minute you got popped and then you were finding your way back in, I was like, I have so much more respect for what you do. Because when an amateur goes through that, it's not ideal, but it starts to set them on a path of, one, I never want to feel that way again.
Yeah.
Two, I now have the confidence if I do feel that way, I've been there, I'm going to find a way out.
Yeah.
So that's where I was like, damn, this kid is like the real deal. And then what happens in the second round?
Second round. It's a bit of a blur. Second round, a little bit of stand up and watching back the fight, or that clip they posted. I was like, oh man, he almost landed a nice head kick on me when I shot. Like I didn't shoot because he started to kick. It just happened that we did it at the side, made the decision at the same time, you know? And as we were talking about earlier with in jiu-jitsu, you know, taking your time, letting your opponent get tired, spending their energy. When he stood back up and I had a hook, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna let him carry my weight for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly what I did. And watch it back to the video. I'm like, oh wow, he carried me for a long time. His legs were probably cooked after that. And you know, he's really good at his strategic hand fighting and stuff. You know, he did the right things. 2-on-1 on my arm, and I was like, ah, man, how long am I going to be able to stay here? Is he going to win this little scramble out about? I was getting ready for the scramble that was going to ensue. Mm-hmm. But then I can't remember what I did. I think I might have thrown a few punches, thrown some knees, and I was able to reestablish my control, turn him to the mat. I think when I slammed him to the mat, he hurt his ankle, hurt his leg or something. And then from there, it was just ground and pound to the finish.
So, yes, that definitely was part of it. I was watching it live and I had a very uncomfortable moment. And I think where I heard it, because I heard it snap. So I heard something bad happen there. And I was, I was a guy who once was cage side for Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman. And that bamboo snapping is forever in my head. And when I was working press there, having that close of exclusive looking at it, I was like, I heard it snap throughout the whole fucking arena. It wasn't quite like that, but it was close. And what happened that I saw that really showed me, I was like, you're going to win this fight. Because I knew he was a game opponent. I knew he was tough. And if he had hurt himself off the takedown with you, he was trying to gut it out a little bit more. But the real moment when I saw something happen, you went to take his back. Mm-hmm. He was kind of on his knees as he fell back. He was falling on that leg. And when I saw that happen, I heard him kind of like make a noise. And that was where I knew. I was like, there's no way he can cover that. And I was thinking, honestly, I was hoping you would finish it with a submission rather than have that guy take any more punishment. Yeah. Because I knew I was like, he's going to be so fucked up from that moment. And his team's a really good team. I like them a lot. And I hate seeing fighters get injured like that. I don't mind fighters losing. Yeah. It's when they get that fucked up that they can't walk or they're out for a certain amount of time. But that was part of the game. So I knew once you were looking for that submission finish, I was kind of rooting for you to get it done like that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, once I realized there was something wrong, I was like, it honestly surprised me how long he fought for.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I'm landing at will, but he's shifting positions. He's making me readjust and stuff. So again, kudos to him for sure.
I mean, what dog, dude?
Yeah, tough dude.
I was legitimately looking at him in awe because I kept thinking, I'm like, he could
just stop
and say, like, my leg's fucked up.
Yeah.
There's nothing more I can do because I can't put weight on it. So what am I going to do? And if I recall, there was a point where I thought he was on the ground and you were kind of circling. I got to see the video again.
Yeah.
But I felt like there was a moment where you were almost disengaged and he was kind of like a jiu-jitsu guy on the ground like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was remembering watching that sequence and going like, what the fuck are you going to do? And then the end of the round happens and he couldn't even walk to his stool because his leg was that compromised. So I had a weird two-direction feel on that one, which I was like, well, I'm happy for you. That was an incredible performance. And then I had a lot of respect for him and was just like, fuck, dude, that sucks.
Yeah.
So it is the fight game. It is what it is, but it was a very compelling fight. And I thought, you're right. He did have a great moment. What I remember about the kick, though, when you said it kind of like came and it didn't necessarily account for that, I think there was a moment where I looked at you and I was like, oh, he's just eating that shit as he's going to get this takedown. That's when I knew. I was like, yeah, he snapped. He's back to just, we're going to get a finish. Fucking head kick me if you want. I'm going to get this takedown. I was like, damn, all right. That's impressive. So a really, really good moment for you. This time the crowd liked you a lot better, though.
Yeah.
So how did you feel to get this great reaction from the crowd this time?
Oh, it was fun, man. Yeah, it was fun. It's always nice to, I'll say it a million times today, probably. I'm such a fucking lucky guy. I'm so lucky. All the people that come out to support me and stuff. So I was able to, jump up on the cage, find my people. I have this older couple who's freaking awesome. I met them at my day job. They just came into my restaurant and we chatted a lot, and they were asking me like, oh, what do you do? What do you go to school? I'm like, oh, I'm actually a fighter. I actually have a fight in a couple of weeks. And they're like, what? And we talked about it, and they're like, we're going to come right back with cash. We want to buy tickets. And they came to both RFL fights, and they're really cool. They're performers, they're singers. Like, apparently they used to do some pretty big stuff, and they still do. But the woman, her name is Vanessa, and she, as a performer, is always wearing something a little bit wacky, pretty cool, And I'm always able to find, even without my glasses, I'm able to find her. She always wears like crazy glasses. So like I got to see them, pointing at them. I got to see my girl and my sisters, and I loved it,
Yeah.
And yeah, I always just feel like the luckiest guy in the world, especially after a fight,
Okay. Now here's where we have to go back. And I don't know if I'm right or if I was wrong. So I don't know if I owe you an apology or if I just heard things. But I did feel like I heard you talking shit to the dude. And there was a moment where I was like, it sounded like it was coming from you. Because I could differentiate up close from the cage, corner, and then hooligans. Because I heard his group and I knew they were there.
Yeah.
I thought I heard it coming from you. Were you saying anything to him?
I don't think so.
Because the answer you gave me was after you said, I don't think so. Then you said, oh, if anything, I was talking to myself. Do you do that in fights?
I wouldn't say like often, but like sometimes I'll like grumble something to myself, or I'll be like, oh fuck, or like get the finish or something like that. But I don't like, I don't have like a whole monologue or anything like that.
I get that. But I really want to point out, I really want to see the footage because I want to hear if you were talking to yourself then. Because when you said that, I was like, oh, okay, I'll go with that. But it was like, okay, this sucks. These are pretty good.
Yeah.
So when you told me that, and I go, okay, that makes sense. And a couple times a day, I didn't hear you talking shit to me, but I heard almost a slight grumble. And I was like, I feel like I'm right in the wheelhouse. So I really, when I watch this footage, I want to be relieved on if I was right. Because when you said you're like, I don't think so, I was like, oh, did I hear it wrong? I'm so sorry if I heard it wrong, but I felt pretty confident something was coming out.
I'm pretty interested to see it too.
I mean, and now that I know that about you, that it's coming more from you talking to yourself, like, all right, let's get this finish. I'm not gonna lie, it's a kind of compelling thing to watch.
Yeah.
Because like you kind of start rooting for those people. I don't know if anybody ever remembers the UFC days with the Apex Center when it was during COVID. You could hear a pin drop. And I, as much as I didn't like crowds being absent from that,
Yeah.
I loved the minutia of like hearing people. Vince Pichel once told me, he was like, you know what I stopped doing? I stopped taking notes from my corner so I could hear the other corner. It's the first time that's ever happened because there was no other noise. So I could hear them telling them that. And I go, that's such a fascinating aspect to the fight game that I would never think about. So all these little details, like they matter to me and they're always really interesting. But I also knew, I was like, if I just made it seem like you were an asshole, I don't want to do that. But I swear I heard something and it made me realize like maybe that was the finishing touch, if it happened, that you were just like, let's go home. Like, let's win this shit.
Yeah.
So it would have been merited if it did happen. But that was part of the interview. I was like, I think we need to clean that up because I'm not quite 100% confident it did happen after you told me, like, I don't think so. And I go, well, you would know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Usually I'm aware of what I'm saying. But,
Well,
you know.
but sometimes people go into a trance when they are fighting. And I just tried to uphold that for you and give you that space. But how did the celebration look like? I know that you and your girl went on a cruise. How did you end up celebrating even before then to mark the occasion this time?
We went to, you know, I had, again, really lucky guy. I had so many people that came out to support and wanted to hang out after. And, you know, it's pretty late. Where can we all go? You know, because we had some youngins. Luckily, we
get somewhere.
We all went.
Food.
Yeah, we all went to a cool, chill bar and just hung out, chatted, shot the shit, played some little board games, and it was wonderful. I went home.
Hold on. You said some board games. What board games are you playing? Because let me ask this. When you feel like you've won a fight, do you feel you're on a heater, meaning you're on good luck streaks? Because if you're playing games, that's the day I'm like loaded up. We're playing a basketball hoop. We're playing shuffleboard. Anything anybody wants, tonight is the night you can come after me. Because that's all I'm like, something's already gone right. So I'm going to go with that momentum. What games were you playing?
I don't even know what they're called. My sister had to teach me how to play them. They were like, there was one game that was some dice game with like 5, 6 dice, and you pass the little board around.
Okay.
And then there was one game that it kind of reminded me of that weird game at Cracker Barrel. Okay. Where they have the little like sticks that you stick in the.
Yes.
So games I had never heard of. Okay. Games that I will probably never seek out again, honestly. But they were just, you know, they were a good time just because the energy was great. Yeah. But yeah, then we stopped at Denny's on the way home, of course, because how can you not?
What's the order?
Depending on the season, you know, because they're always changing things out. Whatever ridiculous pancakes they have. You know, whether it's like the tres leches pancakes or like the apple cinnamon crisp, whatever ridiculous, super sugary dessert pancakes they have. And then my girl and I stumbled upon, they have the most incredible, what is it? Brisket there. And like, you know, at Denny's, you don't expect like super high quality meat. It's like, what, do they have a smoker back there? I don't know if they pull it out of the freezer and microwave it, but it is incredible. So we got the brisket sandwich. We always, my lady and I and Julie, whenever we go out to eat, we get 3 items and each of us has a half of 3 different items.
For sure. Yeah.
You know,
family style.
Yeah, exactly. So got those. And then I live next to Rolling Pin. So a little later we went to Rolling Pin.
What is Rolling Pins?
Oh, Rolling Pin. Oh yeah, you live over here.
I don't know.
So Rolling Pin is just like incredible donuts. Like donuts are good. I never really am like, oh, I could really go for a donut, but Rolling Pin is different. It's like incredible. I'm sure like most people you know in Ventura County probably know Rolling Pin.
What makes them different?
I wish I knew. It's just so good. Like they put love into those donuts for sure.
Can you tell me the types of donuts you get there?
Oh, yes, I can.
Thank you.
I always got to get a chocolate chip roll because I got a gnarly sweet tooth and I'm not able to use it most of the time. And then their apple fritter is incredible too. And then if I got my lady with me, I'm like, oh, cool. That means we get to get more donuts. So, usually we'll get like something with custard in it, and then maybe one with jam or one of those like berry icing looking ones. If we see something new, we try new things, But we definitely always got to get a chocolate chip roll and an apple fritter. Maybe a little bit of a la mode on that.
Here's what I want to tell you, though. I'm very proud of your selections, because today you were telling me, or in the build up to us doing this, you were like, yeah, man, put on a little bit of weight. I was like, yeah, dude, you're not a true 145er, so you probably put on a little bit of weight, but like you're not fat. And then even today you're like, little pudgy, myself. And it's like, brother, you still are in better shape than me. 1, 2, if you dial in, you're gonna be back in like a week. So
yeah,
it's not that big of a deal. And this is the big one to me. All people under 145, or I'm sorry, under 150 are the same weight to me.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, when somebody's like, oh, I'm 125, I was like, you're in the same category as like a 145er to me. It's a non-existent weight to me, because I haven't seen that weight in so long that I go, all right, sure. Tiny ass dude coming over here telling me like, oh, I'm fat. And I was like, well, you know what? I kind of respect this order, because this is somebody who eats.
Oh, yeah.
So I do designate an honorary status to you.
Appreciate that.
Because when you were telling me, you're like, yeah, man, I'm getting nice and fat. I was like, I don't think you're going to be fat enough to like be lethargic when we're rolling. I think you're still going to put up a pretty good match as we're rolling. So I can tell you this, if this is him at not weight, rolls just fine. So there is that. I'm glad you guys got to celebrate. Where'd you guys go on the vacation then for the cruise?
We were supposed to hit Ensenada and Cabo. I guess there was some sort of issue with the boat. Like we spent the first day in Long Beach Harbor, which honestly didn't bother me at all. I would have loved to check out Ensenada, but we got a bunch of onboard credit for it. So like we didn't owe any money at the end of the cruise, which was awesome. And then, yeah, we were just enjoying the boat. There's so much to do, a lot of games, met a lot of cool people, made some friends, ate everything on the boat. They had so many different little spots where like, I'll tell you what, before the fight, I was literally on YouTube watching food reviews on that boat. I'm like, which restaurants do we got to hit? What do I got to get? Like, I told you, man, I'm a glutton. So I was like, all right, babe, we got to hit this one today. This one's only open on these 2 days, so we have to eat here this day. But we tried it all. Incredible.
This is right up my alley.
Yeah, dude. Have you ever been on a cruise?
Yeah. You know what? Okay. This is where I have to be forthcoming. My parents, for 3 years in a row, starting when I was 6, 7, and 8, took me on 3 different cruises.
Okay.
No, those were the last cruises I ever took. But my dad, this is like, we're talking, I grew up in the 80s, so I'm old as fuck. But when my dad told me the following information, it was bad news. He taught me that you could bill it to the room.
Mm.
And I was like, okay. So I would go, and I'm a fairly nice person. So I was like, who thought he had money at a bar, being like, next round's on me. And I was just buying stuff, hella like sweets for people. Like, what can you buy when you're a child? But you're buying like ice cream shit for people. And be like, what is that woman over there like? You want a sundae? Sundae for the lady over there. And my parents were like, how did you make this bill go so high? And I was like, you told me to bill it to the room. They're like, bill your stuff to the room, not other people's stuff. And I go, you didn't specify that. And I remember them kind of like, okay, all right, you asshole. And the next few times that I went on vacation, that was not the case anymore. They were pretty clear on being like, so you don't get this now. And I go, that's fair. I was a big fun person then. So imagine, by the way, to the people, whoever this is, you wouldn't be watching this. It's like not my family or anything. How did you let a 7-year-old buy you shit? Like, what is so wrong with those people that they're like, yeah, I'm going to let that 7-year-old.
Oh, he's paying? Actually, let me get the filet mignon.
The amount of shit I took from my family for years, they were just like, don't let him go. Don't give him that. And I was like, you know what, though? I remembered one time, though, because I asked my dad how much it was. For years, I carried this guilt. And I was like, how much did I do? And he's like, well, a lot. And I was like, okay, I understand that, but I'm an adult now. How much is a lot? And I'll do the inflation.
Yeah.
And I think they were telling me in like 87, no, it's like $89. So the year 1989, they were telling me, I think I spent like $60, which to now would be about 200 plus.
Yeah.
Which is not like great. But I realized for years, I was like, well, I have $200 now. Do you want me to just
the amount of guff you got for it.
Like, I thought I did a Home Alone for like thousands of dollars, and you were giving me shit for $60? Get out of here. So yeah, when they finally told me how much it was, the amount of relief I had is I was like, you guys held this over my head. Like I was terrible. And they go, but how many items could you get for that price? That was how cheap it was back in those cruise days. I was like, oh, I looked at the bill and I was like, dude, I ordered like 25, 30 things. I was very efficient with my money, everybody. So yeah, I have been on a cruise. I don't think I was allowed to go on one. But it is great because you go to so many different destinations. You do so much food.
Yeah. And the food's great.
The food is really good.
Food's great. And like, dude, it basically came down to, I think, almost $70 a night each. Room, food, almost every activity is free. Like, and you're getting taken somewhere. Pretty sweet deal.
So are you going to do another cruise?
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
We actually might go on another cruise with the friends we made on the boat.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're thinking about making an annual thing. We'll see.
Good for you, man. And I will be honest, when you told me, because we were trying to figure out a date, and it's hard when it's Christmas season. So I'm very amicable to like, hey, man, everybody's got different plans. Let me know what it is. But I always like to do them sooner than later because one, there is the 30-day embargo. So people don't see this for 30 days. And guess what happens in 30 days? We're already on the road to you having to defend a title. So is what it is. But I think that's a pretty good treat for you to go do that after having a fight. Like that's a pretty good way to go. Hey, bud, I can't do an interview because I'm going out on a cruise. I was like, fuck yeah, go and enjoy your time, man.
Yeah.
So I was stoked when you told me that was what you were doing.
Yeah, I had the best time ever. It was incredible.
That's pretty dope. But yeah, I was, I'll tell you this much though. I'm going to be angling for you to double the amount of food so that the next time we roll after a cruise, I'm going to be like, I need this dude to be as slow as I am. And then we'll be, I think, a little bit happier about that.
Bring a pizza next time. I'll eat it before.
You'll eat the pizza before?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Hell yeah.
You can eat before you roll?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, are we talking 30 minutes before you roll or like an hour before you roll? Or is it right up to the minute when you roll?
I mean, I don't look to do it often, but I've like I've trained like literally seconds after eating, you know?
What did you have before you go train then?
Well, like, let me paint a picture. Like, for example, what was it, last year on Thanksgiving, or maybe it was a couple years ago, I don't remember. But we had like turkey rolls. So we had like a potluck in the morning. Everyone comes in, bring food. We're just gonna be messing around rolling. Bring your parents for the kids, bring your kids for the adults. Family thing, fun time. I was, hopping off the mat, shoving some food in my mouth, like some really ridiculous French toast casserole or whatever, shoving it in my mouth, walking back on the mat, rolling, repeat,
Do you understand that I don't eat before I roll?
At all? Like the whole day?
Well, for example, today we were rolling at like 3. So I had some food beforehand. But I can't do that. Like if I train at like 10, I'm not eating before then. If I train at 1, I might even hold until that 3. But like as soon as we're done, I'm starving.
I see.
But I purposely don't do that because my stomach's like, we don't want this shit. And somebody's neon belly was a little pretty good. So I'm not trying to be rude to you and be like, well, it's coming back up. So I just don't understand. The thing that triggered me is you being like, bring a pizza next time. and then I'll roll afterwards. And to me, it does not make any sense. So it is an absurd freaking like show off moment here. So I'm astounded by this information.
Yeah, I think trade off a good deal I made with the gluttony is it kind of gave me an iron stomach,
Yeah, good for you.
And I'm obviously like, if I'm gonna have like hardcore sparring day, I'm gonna be smart about when and what I eat. But otherwise, I feel like I'm pretty rock solid.
You know what? Maybe next time I will give you some pizza before I roll.
Yeah.
Because I want to see now how that is. Like the scientist in me is like, well, let's find out how that works for him.
Might toot on you a couple times, but
that's the other part. And this.
I'll wait till we get a triangle. Jesus. Mounted triangle.
I have to be honest with you. This is why the boldness of you being like, I can do that. Like, bro, part of the reason I don't eat that shit is so that I don't do that when we're rolling. I have like passed gas once when somebody like put pressure on me. And I remember deeply, profusely apologizing to this guy. And he was just like, what? And I was like, bro, I'm so sorry. This is so embarrassing. He goes, if that's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you in jiu-jitsu, I think you're okay. And
yeah.
But it just feels so dumb, And I'm like, the fact that you can't control it is terrible to me. So
I've got a good story on that for you.
Oh boy.
I've let it rip plenty of times in 805 MMA.
I'm sure.
For sure. But one time I had some questionable meat. I'm like, oh, this might be bad. And I smelled it and like, no, I just gotta cook it right now. So I cooked it, ate it, went to the gym. It was pretty gassy during kids class. And then it's time for jiu-jitsu. And I have my friend Bronson in a triangle. And he's a big, strong guy, really good wrestler, much bigger and stronger than me. So he's like throwing me around, trying to wiggle his way out of the triangle. And then like it just blasts him. And he's like, are you kidding me? And I like still had him in the triangle. I'm like, oh shit, my bad. And he like got up and like kind of ran away for a second because he couldn't believe what just happened. And I pretty much farted in his face and held him there. Pretty funny.
I mean, for you, I don't know if it was funny for him.
I think it'd be funny for him now, but yeah, that night.
I'm still going to say probably not as funny for him. Just take an adventure. You know what, Bronson, if you're watching this, that's your question. You need to put in the comment section, sir.
Number 2's coming, Bronson.
God damn. No, don't do that. That's terrible. You know what? I was really excited to make you eat the pizza, but now you tell me that's a possibility. And it's a dairy product. I don't think this is the smartest idea. But you want to know something funny? Pizza in my kitchen. Was staring at it.
Oh, yeah?
Looked at it. Knew I was training with you and didn't eat it.
Hey.
Because I'm considerate.
Thanks for that. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. And you know what? I don't even hit triangles, so I probably don't even have to worry about that. But you do know there was a dude who did a long time ago. They called it a fart oplata because this dude, similar to you, was hitting a triangle. It smelled so bad that the other dude was like, in the competition. And I think the dude got disqualified.
The dude who had the submission?
Yes.
Wow.
Because he was doing the submission, the fart happened, and then like this thing went viral in jiu-jitsu a long time ago. And it was so sad. I knew the guy. So I didn't ever want to bring it up. He would bring it up occasionally. I was just like, I don't feel like talking about it. It's gross as fuck. It's one of my nightmares. I don't ever want to do that to a training partner. I have a pretty clean record when that stuff happens. But man, it reminds me that when I see that pizza in the morning and I go, oh, I should have that. Like a snack. I'm not rolling until 3. We'll stretch out. It'll probably be like 3:15 before we actually roll. It'll be fine. And I didn't because you're a new person here. I wanted to be respectful to the guests. But now I know. I'm like, you know what? We're going to load up next time. Fuck
Let's do it.
This dude is literally cheating right now, doing it to his training partners, and then tells them, like, it didn't work good enough. Gonna have to do it again next time. So let's do this. This is your first time on the show.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking origin story. So you and I had the ability to talk beforehand. You said you wrestled for a while, for 3 years. What did you do beforehand? Did you do any sports before you even got to wrestling?
Yeah. I pretty traditional athlete. I played like every sport I could. Baseball, basketball, football. But as I told you earlier, I was tiny kid. So I really excelled at basketball. I would say that was my first real love. And just little, quick, really scrappy, worked out. And I was originally going to play basketball in high school, but I was bouncing around locations, and I happened to switch schools like a couple days before school started, and they had already formed their summer basketball team. And doesn't look like it's gonna be hard for me to weasel my way in here, and if I do, they might stick me on the bench for a while. I don't really want to do that. And my best bud at the time, his dad was making him wrestle, and my setup back then was kind of like, oh, we go to school, I go to his house, and then I get picked up like late at night. Sometimes I would just stay over. So I was with him every day, and his dad was making him wrestle, so I'd get out. I just decided to do PE that year. So I'd get out of school, I walk over to the wrestling room, wait for 2 hours for him to be done. Dude, why don't you just join? No, why don't I? So I did, and I happened to excel at it really quickly, picked it up pretty quick, and just fell in love with it. And then I realized basketball and wrestling season are the same season, but I loved it so much. I'm like, basketball could hit the road, But yeah, I played pretty much everything. And then, like I said, with that buddy that I was at his house every day, we'd go get done with wrestling and we'd go play basketball, play baseball in the backyard. But just always very active,
What was it about wrestling that really appealed to you?
Cute outfits for sure.
Yeah.
No,
hold on. Context for that. I like that before he was telling me, he's like, bro, I hated the singlet. And then I learned to respect it. I came full circle, and then I gave it away.
Yeah. But realistically, I think I'd never tasted a combat sport before. Growing up, I had a fair share of fights. My mom was always working, gone, so we were kind of just wild. Me and my sisters, we'd go outside, play. And one area that we lived in at one point, it was my favorite place that we grew up. But it was just, looking back, I would not necessarily want my child to be hanging out with all these other kids doing who knows what, you know?
Yeah.
And, the older kids, they were like cool teenagers and like, oh yeah, we want to hang out with these guys. And they would put us up to fighting each other and stuff like that. So I definitely had my fair share of combat as a little guy, but I never played a combat sport. So once I touched that, I was like, oh, this is the bomb, So I think the fact that I just picked it up so well, and then there's like nothing like just like overpowering someone, like displaying your will on someone, and they can't do anything about it. I was like, whoa, this is pretty sweet. This is way better than basketball. So I stuck with it.
Do you have one particular memory that sticks out from your time wrestling that like was a great memory?
Got a lot for sure. I would say definitely whenever I was done cutting weight, that was great. I would say my favorite memory would probably be one time when we had my first coach. He was a great man. They were all great men, In retrospect, even though I butted heads with them, they were trying to turn me into a better kid, But we'd like to mess around a lot, especially me. I think that's partly why we butted heads so much. And we were running our warm up and stuff, and he was a teacher there, so he was finishing up some stuff. And when he was late, the leaders of the team would run class or run practice until he got there. And at this point, I was one of the leaders of the team. And I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna hide in this cooler and scare the shit out of him when he gets here. We had like huge coolers and everything. So then I pulled one of the coolers down and put it in the middle of the room, and I just hopped in. Big ass cooler. And then I hear him come in, and he's pissed. Something happened in whatever he was doing that he was furious. Yeah. And he starts running practice. He's like, where the hell is Metcalf? And people are just like kind of giggling. And he's like, where is he? And he was just like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, God, I don't know if I want to hop out anymore. and then, and I stripped down to my underwear just 'cause I thought it'd be funny. and then eventually he's like, why the hell is this cooler out? What the fuck? And he comes over the cooler and starts to drag it. And I just pop out. Like, hey, coach. And like, I just saw all the different emotions go through his eyes. And then he just kind of like, he couldn't even be mad at it, it was just so ridiculous how he just like shook his head and he laughed like, put this shit away, Cameron. and, that was a pretty good one, but I'm sure I could think of plenty.
Just ask a qualifying question here.
Yeah.
Why did you feel the need, if you were going to surprise him, that you were like, you know what I should do? Strip down to my underwear? Because I feel like his reaction might have been just fine and probably the exact same had you elected to keep most of your other clothes on.
Because I just think it was funny.
I'm going to point this out.
Especially being a teenager doing that to an adult. I know it's like not great for him. So I think it just made it even funnier.
Yeah, it's still not great. No coach who wants to keep their job is like, good job, love that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything, I feel like he's looking at you like, what am I supposed to react to now? I can't laugh. I can't be mad at it. Clean the shit up. Get out of here.
I think it kind of that probably saved me from getting killed,
I would have been so bad. I'd be like, literally just pop out of it with your fucking clothes, you fucking weirdo. Like, stop that shit. So I'm glad you at least can see that now because you were an adult. But I'm sure when you were a kid, you're like, nothing's going to top this. This is like my coup de grace.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because the worst part is you don't know that all those years later, you're going to be interviewed by some dude who's going to ask you your favorite wrestling moment. You're really like, yes, the day I was in a cooler
in my underwear
and I surprised my coach. Better than any pin I ever got. Better than any team win we ever had. Better than even cutting weight, which you mentioned was your initial memory. And I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
If that's what got you there and got you by, it worked because your wrestling's pretty good. Let's go from there, though. How does one take the time off and not immediately find their way into combat sports? Because you got this taste of it, and it seemed like you really liked the ability to dominate people, to beat them. You get that first initial taste of it. How do you not go to MMA? How do you not do anything combat sports? Because once you're done with it in high school, you either go to college, you pursue it a little bit, maybe, but there's not recreational wrestling league.
Yeah.
But a lot of those people end up coming to us in jiu-jitsu or at least in MMA. So how did that journey go for you as you were kind of finding your way?
I was actually, as you mentioned, I was planning to wrestle in college.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had an opportunity to go to like a really, low level, no name Division III school because I was pretty solid. And then I had a connection there too.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of my wrestling career, I was kind of over it because I was butting heads with our new coach. And in retrospect, I was a stupid kid.
Yeah.
They really wanted the best for me. And I didn't know any better. I was like, you guys don't want me to have any fun. I'm here to have a good time, So I was pretty over it by then. I decided not to go to that school. Some life happened, and I ended up moving to Hermosa right after I graduated. And I was like, maybe I will go to school and wrestle. I had my sister's boyfriend at the time had a connection with the coach there and he was going to put us together. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I will. I'll do that. And then more life happened. I was moving all over the place, back in with family, trying to help some situations and then just back and forth. And all right, well, school's not happening this year, Then I just kind of fell into as people do, just fell into life, started working, hanging out with girls, being a stupid young man, and I kind of strayed away from it. And, I would still play pick up basketball and stuff. But other than that, my athletic time seemed to be behind me. My years seemed to be past. And yeah, I never even really cared about the UFC or anything. And I was like, oh, that seems cool, but I was never like, oh, I want to do that. I was like, yeah, I'm done with school. I'm cool. I'm moving on to the next part of my life. And then, yeah, I happened to swing by 805 MMA when they're having free jiu-jitsu when I was back in town from traveling. And I was just like, oh, wow, I'm never leaving again, So very fortunate to find my way back to it.
Okay. So you told me a cool story when we were training of how you ended up getting into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It was kind of fortuitous. I think it's a great story. Do you mind telling the people how that worked?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was doing the camper van thing during COVID, traveling around. The girl I was with at the time had to come home for a while, settle some things. So I was like, all right, let's go back. And we're back for like a month or two. And I happened to meet Julian, the owner of my gym, my best bud, a couple of years prior, because he was a bouncer at a bar that my sister used to live next to, and they used to go to high school together. So she introduced us to each other. We chatted for a little bit, exchanged Instagrams. Nothing never came of it. I'm doing my thing traveling. I come back. I'm scrolling Instagram one day, and I see he posted. He's like, oh, free week of jiu-jitsu at my gym. And I had kind of adopted the yes man thing. So I was in a rut and like, I think I'm getting too comfortable. I just say no to everything. I'm kind of a bum. I need to break out of this. So I was like, saw that. I'm like, oh man, this is a perfect opportunity to say yes. I'm going to go try it out. And actually, one of my other best buds, he's super into UFC and MMA and all that. He's actually the one who kind of showed it to me. And he lived in the area. So I'm like, hey, do you want to go to this with me? And he's like, yeah, you can sleep over after. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And then 30 minutes before I'm about to leave, he's like, hey, I can't go, blah, 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 happening. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not going to go then. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I have a camper van. I'm going to go drive it over there and I'll take class and I'll sleep in it and then I'll take class again the next day. That's exactly what I did. And I just fell in love with it, and they made it really, really easy to not want to leave,
Dude, that's so wild that you almost didn't go because somebody else wasn't going to go with you.
Yeah. I'm so glad I did.
I mean, clearly you should be, because I remember the first few days for me in jiu-jitsu, because I didn't know anybody. It was new to me. I had a little bit of social anxiety of, well, I don't know anybody, so I don't have a friend that it could partner up with me. And there were days where I didn't go, but I knew I would eventually go. So I've never let myself off the hook on being like, well, I'm never going to go. I'm like, I'm just not going today.
Yeah.
Because I knew if I was coming in like 2 minutes late or 3 minutes late, it's already too far. I can't talk with somebody or connect. I'm just going to like walk in as the late dude and be like, cool. So I'd sit in my car and I'd be like, I made myself late. Why did I do that? And then eventually it just became like people would just start introducing themselves to you. And I actually realized that's an important aspect that I didn't even know I was forcing to happen, because I couldn't just go to any gym that wouldn't acknowledge me first. And the gyms that go the extra mile when somebody new walks in to be like, hi, what's your name?
Yeah.
That's where you should be. That should be home. So I've always made it well, I want to say I've made it a habit, but I fortunately go here. And this is something that, without being told explicitly, this is what you do, this is a thing we all adhere to and that we all agree on and believe. So even without telling us purposely, like, hey, go up there and talk to this person, we all just do it naturally.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are when you know you found your gym. And that might not be for everybody. Some people like to just be a fucking number in the room. But I knew, I'm like, if I'm going to spend time with these people like my family, I gotta feel connected. And it's wild because when I first showed up to that place, they weren't necessarily saying hi to me. I was just a body.
Yeah.
And it took me a little while to realize, I was like, I don't think this is going to be my gym. And it was smart, because if I had gone there, maybe I'd be like a super black belt by now, but I don't think I'd have as enriched of an experience. So things kind of work themselves out. So you taking the initiative to go was good for you. It's just so silly to me that somebody who enjoyed wrestling so much had to have a buddy to go when probably deep in your head you knew this would be good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because him and I, we had spoken about eventually trying jujitsu one day. Because, like I said, he was showing me like the UFC and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this is something we do together. Plus, I lived pretty far, and in my big ass camper van I was getting like 8-9 miles a gallon.
Yeah.
I don't want to drive back and forth. And he's not going, so I can't crash at his place. And you know how when you start to get in your head, it's really easy to talk yourself out of something you're uncertain of. So I've had to stop myself when I caught myself doing that. But again, really glad I did. And to touch on what you were talking about, yeah, I think community in the gym is something that's so important. And it's like at my gym at 805 MMA, it's incredible. I've made lifelong friends there for sure. And no one really has an ego, which I think is really important as well. I feel like that can be kind of rare sometimes in this world.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to walk into another gym and feel, oh, I can be comfortable here.
It's tricky. And when I'm saying it out loud now because I didn't know it at the time, but I'm applauding myself for not accepting that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at the time. There's no way you feel good about it because you just feel like you're not toughing it out or you're not doing what you're supposed to do. I just knew maybe in the back of my head, I was like, that's just unacceptable for me. And it's a deal breaker. And maybe they might have great techniques, but what am I going to do? And it was not an offense to that gym because I've seen how a lot of people, like it's a small community. I see great people who have come from them. I think they've changed. But I've also recognized, I was like, yeah, for me starting, it wasn't good enough to keep me and for me to pay for it at the time.
Yeah.
And I saw amazing people come out from that gym. I was like, damn, they're good or they're good. And guess what? We all still ended up training. But it was me being like, I got to find a home. I got to find the people. So that's why I literally, when people come in their first days, they try to give you every excuse. And I'm like, it's just not going to work on me. You either want to do it or you don't.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and make you feel as welcome as I can to a certain point. And then it really has to be, do you want to do this? And do you want to do it here? And I've been happy to recommend people to other gyms where I'm like, go there. They're going to be good for this. Go here if you want to do this. And if they look at me at this and I know it'll be good for them, I'm like, stick it out. Come here another week. What do you think? And I always like that connection because having not felt it initially, you always try, but then you recognize like, dude, there might be 40 reasons somebody doesn't come back.
Yeah.
And it might have nothing to do with you. So you just have to represent the place as best you can and be like, hey, look, these are the idiots that come to this gym. We're a bunch of hooligans. We say dumb shit to each other. There's a lot of love here.
Yeah.
Come back or don't. And when they come back and they see it and they start becoming part of the group, and I'm like, awesome. You see what the magic is. Or if I see them at another gym, they're like, oh, hey. And I'm like, you don't have to, I don't care.
Yeah.
You found your people. That's where you needed to go. All good. Because guess what? I don't train at 805, but I know you now. And I know your kind of people that make up that gym. So it makes me happy when I get to interact with people from different gyms. And before you know it, it's such a small community. We all know each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, oh man, they might see me. And it's like, bro, I don't give a shit. I just hope people train if this is something that's important to them. So speaking of that, you mentioned falling in love with wrestling, but I want to know a couple things. First, what do you remember from the very first experience? And then second, like details. What are things that you remember from that first class experience? And then second, did you go back the second day?
I remember being like, oh, wow, oh, this is going to be a lot harder. You know, because a lot of the people that were there, like it was just mostly white belts in there, except for like a handful. So I was like, oh wow, like crushing it, hell yeah. And I think that's partly what drew me back, you know. And
hold on, did you tap anybody that day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only with a rear naked was the only thing I knew how to do.
It's the same thing he knows how to do here. But I mean, it's served you well, so I can't talk too much shit about it. It's kind of won you a championship. No,
Yeah.
but you understand that you are competitive enough that you want to beat them to feel like it's worth it.
Yeah.
If they had been beating you up, because that's a lot more of people's experience, would you have still come back?
I would like to say yes.
Okay.
But I guess there's no way to know for sure. Yeah. But I think so. I think I would, especially because I would want to get them back. You know, I'm a really competitive person.
Are you?
Yeah.
Because, okay, well, I mean, I felt you were competitive, but you weren't like absurdly competitive here. And that brought like me joy because it's real training.
Yeah. I had to learn that skill to like dial it back. And I think that's something jiu-jitsu has been really great for me with. Because, you know, you get a wrestler in the room for the first time, or even like the first few months, they're like they're 100% the whole time. They're trying to grind their person to dust, you know? Yeah. So, Ty, our jiu-jitsu instructor, he did a really good job at teaching me how to like tone that back. Look, everyone here is trying to compete like you know? And also like, you guys are here to learn and get better together. You're not fighting him for a gold medal, you know? So learn how to like chill. I think that also taught me how to maneuver through martial arts in general, because there's a time and place to be ultra competitive. And I mean, even in sparring in a fight, if you're like going balls to the walls the whole time, your tank's gonna go. You're gonna make some mistakes. You're gonna be going faster than you should, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'd like to think I would have came back because I'd have
to. I mean, good for you. Hey, whatever gets you in the door, I don't really care. And I think what I saw from you today then is a good point of where you're at, where you're comfortable enough to just play.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we're talking shit back and forth, it's like, I don't take any of this personally. I just think it's fun.
Yeah.
And then it just makes it more fun. And then a little bit later, I was telling you, I was like, oh, hey, just so you know, this is why I talk shit here or here, just so that we could see those things. And you're kind of like, oh, I was like, yeah, most of my shit talking has some reasoning to it other than just a psychological advantage. It usually is a good way to pull out systems or organizational training that you go, I don't know if you train like this, or I don't know if you roll like this, but when you do it here, then it has more of an accomplishment, or then it's like, oh, we had a goal and we set that goal today and we beat it. So it's what I try to instill a lot with our guys is just there's winning. And then there's like, you might win today, but it might not matter.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you win continuously where you can replicate it, whether it's you, this guy, that guy, that guy, because that's really when it matters. Beating your gym crush, if you would, is going to feel good and it's going to be dope. And then one day you're going to try to do it to somebody else and they're going to be like, yeah, I don't get submitted by that, bro. And you go, oh, but it worked at my gym. You go, yeah, it doesn't work here, dude. Nice try. So yeah, that's kind of how I pick that up. So I can see that about you. And I think it's important to know how to dial people's competition sense in a positive way. Because especially when you fight, you just don't want it to be used against you. So as long as you know how to healthily dial it in.
Yeah.
So credit to your team, because I've seen some people be very, very competitive. And then it gets real dicey when you're like, oh, this dude's not going to let me do anything.
Yeah.
And then he's going to get real mad if I tap him. So hate to tell you, bud, it's a two-way dance and I want to tap you too. So if I tap you, I hope you don't throw a fit about it. And some have. And it is kind of funny to watch. I kind of actually enjoy it more when they throw a fit because I'm like, oops. I did the thing you
Sorry
thought I
about
would. I mean, Milton's been pretty pissed here when I've tapped him. My wife says it very well. I'm only competitive with 10 people. Everybody else, cool. You tap me, all good. If it's like Milton, she's like, you will sit at a board game and be like, let's keep going. When I go to poker games, I don't care if I win. I want to make sure he loses. And those are good days. Sometimes the guys here at the gym will tell me, they're like, he didn't win yesterday. I was like, good. That's all I wanted to hear. They're like, fuck, dude, do you guys hate each other that much? I was like, no, he's one of my best friends. I hate him. Cannot win. Don't want him to win. So very different roles. So he is somebody who, if you thought I was annoying today, I'm 100% being like, what did you tap to today? And he'll be like, I want to talk about it. I was like, I think it was this, this, and this. And he's like, fuck you, dude. I'll see you tomorrow. And I'll be like, cool. I usually don't keep tabs in that annoying a way unless it's really somebody like him. So good stuff. When did you know that you actually fell in love with jiu-jitsu? It's a different world because they said they were pacing you down. So it's hard to give up what you feel you're best at. You come from a wrestling world. You played other sports. There's got to be a point where you want to pursue this as more than just a hobby. When did that moment when you actually fell in love with jiu-jitsu happen?
I'd say probably shortly after that first tournament I jumped into, because fill you guys. I jumped into a jiu-jitsu tournament really early in my jiu-jitsu career, like maybe, I don't even know if I was in it for a month or not. And you know, I didn't really know any jiu-jitsu. I just knew my wrestling, and then I knew like a rear naked choke. Didn't know what a triangle was. I didn't know. I had heard of an arm bar, but I didn't know how to do it. I like sort of knew how to do it, you know. And I was like, I'm just gonna take him down, control him, and then take his back. And my first match, I'm crushing this kid, killing him. I'm like, oh, on to the next one. Let's go. And then I end up in his guard, and he triangles me, and I didn't even know what a triangle was. I'm like, oh my God, I can't breathe. Tap. And I was pissed, you know, because I waited all day. My team was there with me. I'm like, I can't believe you guys. I just made you guys sit here till 4 p.m. to watch me lose to a guy I was crushing. So then I got obsessed with the triangle. I was like, I have to learn how to defend this. And then it became one of my best moves, of course. But I would say once I picked up the triangle pretty quick. I think just because every day I was like, show me how to do this. Show me how to get out of it. So I started to pick it up really quick. And again, my gym at the time, they were all more experienced than me, but it was mostly white belts in jiu-jitsu. And I was just like killing them with triangles. Everyone was getting triangle. So I was like, oh, now I see why jiu-jitsu is really cool. Like there's one, like there's not really much of a ceiling to how good you can be. Yeah. And two, it's like just the chess match of it too. I'm like, oh, there's always going to be an answer for everything. This is incredible, you know? And jiu-jitsu was actually like the only thing I was training at first. Like I didn't start striking till I started in October 3 years ago. I didn't start striking till that following summer. So I was like all jiu-jitsu, baby. Yes.
Hold on. Thinking out loud. Did you answer if you went back that next day?
Oh, no. I did go back the next day.
Thank you.
I slept in the van like right outside the gym.
And so then you went back the next day. How did you feel? Was it similar or different? And then were you still tapping people, or were you now starting to get the word out where people were like, yeah, go beat up that kid?
It was a smaller class because at the time, our schedule is much different now. At the time, it was Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Monday, Wednesday night was gi. Those were the big classes. And then Tuesday, Thursday morning, they'd have like a small no-gi wrestling class. And it was only like maybe 2 or 3 of us in there. So it was a really cool experience because the instructor we had at the time, he's no longer at our gym, but he was a wrestler too. So like we really connected, and he was like, what do you want to learn? And I'm all like, I don't know, something that's good for a wrestler. And he's like, all right, let me show you the darts. arm triangle. So it was like, I kind of just got like a free private lesson out of it, you know?
Nice.
There's a couple other people. One of them was Julian, the owner of the gym. So, you know, and he's real advanced too. So it was just like, it was kind of more wrestling style class, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed those classes.
It was nice that they could kind of cater it to you.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
you know, you had this interest and they could sniff you out. They were like, this dude's a wrestler. Let's make the most of it. Because I'll be honest, whenever we get a wrestler that comes here, I'm like, let's try to keep them because I like jiu-jitsu. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I wish I could be exciting, but we want to bring in more of those people because it makes for better rounds. You know, the guys, I always tell them, I'm like, if you find a wrestler, try to give up a lot of your jiu-jitsu and meet them halfway, you know, and like you'll learn more. It's just you're going to get taken down and you got to get used to that. But if you really learn the proper way with them, you might be the one taking down other people that you couldn't before. It's only by working with them, though. Yeah. Like learning jiu-jitsu wrestling from other jiu-jitsu people is always kind of like, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's not the best takedown, but sometimes it can get the job done. It's just by and large, bring those unicorns here to train with us when you can. So that's good stuff. All right. We ask everybody all that. After we ask the when we fall in love question, the next question we ask is, why fight though? Because you don't have to.
I think similarly to the way I fell in love with jiu-jitsu, I was like, oh, I forgot how much I loved combat sports, you know? And then I started striking. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I'm really good at this. And, you know, I was, before I even started striking, I was like, you know, I'm going to take off, start traveling again. And then they set me up and they're like, yo, if you want to stay, become a fighter for us. We'll help get you set up. We'll build you up, blah, blah, blah. So, and I was like, you know, if I'm not going to travel, I'm definitely going to fight, you know? And I wish I wouldn't have been so lazy and waited so long to start striking. But I lived, you know, a good like 45-minute drive away in that big old clunker. I was like, and traveling, I wasn't doing a lot for work. I was making a little bit of dough teaching online, but that's it. So, yeah, I think this second I decided I was going to put traveling on hold, I knew I was going to fight. And again, I wish I would have started striking. I wish I would have started it all sooner in the grand scheme of things, you know?
But I think given the short time that you've been doing this, you have definitely made the most of it. You've had some great experiences, a very solid amateur record, and now a title to boot, which is incredible. And I guess the question is, we probably have just glossed it over, but you're looking to go pro?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not necessarily in a rush. You know, I'm going to let myself cook. I definitely have flaws that I need to fix before I decide to go pro, but ideally I would like to, you know, win another couple belts, maybe see if I could grab that camo belt, the California belt, and then I'll look to go pro. You know, I don't necessarily have a stiff timeline, but I'd like to think in the next year or two.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I always tell people, I'm like, load up on these experiences, you know, load up on all of the amateur experience you can. And seeing that you already knew, like, let me get back there in December is a great sign from somebody who's like, I'm not in a rush, but when I've got the time, I'm going to make the time to do it.
Yeah.
So that's a really good place to be, especially at not even the athletic peak of your career. So really the way you're piecing it together has been very, very solid. Why don't we do this, sir? We're going to put a pin on this conversation. We still have a little quick other thing to do to watch your fight. But what I would love for you to do, that is your camera right there. I would love for you to look at that camera and, you know, give any shout outs to any sponsors, all the people who made you the fighter you were, and, you know, anything that you want to plug or promote. That is you right there, sir.
All right. Well, definitely a big thank you to my sponsors, Soleil Soups and My Retreats. You know, they're huge for me. They're Soleil's keeping me fed, both keeping me paid. Mama's about to take me on a sweet vacation, so very thankful for them. And most importantly, I'm incredibly thankful to my fight team. You know, Julian, Coach, James, Sahel, Jacob, Ezra, Zach. I've got like I'm really lucky to have best friends that are also my teammates. Without them, none of this is possible, you know? So super thankful to you guys. And then obviously the rest of my 805 team, my family, all my loved ones. Everyone's always so incredibly supportive. Big thank you to you guys. Love you all. As far as plugs go, hit me up for private lessons. I'm gonna be pushing them out a lot this new year. Boxing, wrestling, whatever you guys want to do, I got you. So hit me up.
All right, let's do this. Hold on. Coming closer.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at that camera right there. All right. So here's why I think, well, not that close. You can move a little bit further out. We're good here. Here's why you should take a private from this young man. He has excellent wrestling. Now, obviously, you can get the striking. This is a guy who's getting out knockouts and getting great moments in his career thus far in. But the wrestling is what chains it all together. There's excellent jiu-jitsu, but if you start with the wrestling, I think you're going to be able to level up in the way he has. In 3 short years of just training in this realm, he has been able to win a title. And if you want to excel like that, you want to start with somebody who has a can't lose attitude. A lot of that comes from that grind you get from wrestling. I can tell you this much, I had to pull guard a little bit more than I wanted to today. And that's mostly because he has a really, really good stand-up game. And also because I wanted to neutralize the stand-up. Because I was like, why are we doing this? And at one point, what'd you say to me when we were about to stand up?
What did I say?
You literally looked at me and you go, oh, because you snapped me down so hard.
Yeah.
Then I go, okay, well, I'm going to guard then. And you were like, oh, and I was like, that's your downfall. I was going to wrestle with you for a
Yeah. You know, that was totally on me.
Womp womp. Doesn't learn the lessons of jiu-jitsu. But I can tell you this. Right now, we rolled for over an hour plus today, almost 2 hours. And solid attention to detail, really puts in the work. And I feel like he's only going to get better. So why not take this guy, pick his brain, and learn why he's been able to adapt so quickly to so many big games. So take a private with him.
Yeah. Come on, hit me up. Appreciate the words, man.
Of course, you're welcome. And I did promise him one of the next times he comes here to visit, I have to wrestle with him. So that shit's going to suck. But
it's going to be awesome.
No, it's not going to be awesome. It's not a fun day for me. While we're doing it, all right, let's say some thank yous. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. As a quick reminder, we ask you to like, comment, and subscribe wherever you're watching. There's a bit of business I forgot. Hold on. Are you fighting on February 21st?
I may be. We're going to
figure things out. Okay.
You know, we'll see.
I just realized, I was like, wait, how do we fast forward that part? I was like, well, the franchise isn't on that day. Still pretty good fights over with the good folks over at RFL. That is February 21st. You guys can go catch them. That's going to be another one. And I'll tell you this much, if he's on the card, it's only improving the card that much more. Because we'll see. But he's been very prolific the last 2 cards. We'll see if you're on that one.
Yeah. And if I'm not on that one, 100% I'll be on the next one.
Yeah.
So, but, oh, you know what?
What was up?
I actually brought you a little gift. I just happened to scroll past it. And I know you like wrestling. Yeah. I assume you must love Nacho Libre, right?
Yeah, of course.
Got you.
You are out of your mind.
These guys.
No. Where did you get this from? And why did you bring it specifically for this?
Yeah, I brought it for you. I just happened to be scrolling on Instagram and I saw a Nacho Libre clip. I'm like, oh my God, I want to get that guy one of those.
Brother, this is the nicest thing in the world. This is what my yapping gets for all the wrestling talk that I do. Nonsense. Good Lord. I don't even think it fits my head though, but that's all right.
You might have to loosen the top. Honestly, it looks very Nacho Libre-esque like that.
There we go.
Said one size fits all.
So. Oh, well, they didn't know what my head was like. That's really funny. Hold on. Let's try to end this properly, because if I could sign off with this on my head, I think this is the only way to go. By the way, this is a very nice game.
Oh, of course, man.
This is
thank you for bringing me on your platform and all the knowledge. And
brother, this is the easiest thing to do. Still might not.
Maybe if you like.
Wait,
there you go.
Okay, we got it.
Yeah.
Yo, they really got to go low with this shit. Holy fuck. Hold on. Let me see it. Nope, we need those. Fair enough.
Incredible. It's a scary looking guy.
I will be honest with you. I should have trained with this. If I had known this was going to be the way that you were going to bring this, I would 100%.
No, that would have been great. I honestly forgot I brought it until I grabbed my clothes.
That is so funny. The fact that you were able to make it this way, this long, even after I like showed you a couple wrestling moves, that you were like, oh, hey, I did forget this. God, by the way, one size fits all, and it doesn't fit my giant head, is the most, like, this is the cruelest thing in the entire world to me. I think I learned that I could pull it down. I just got to try and put it on a little bit later.
Grease up.
Grease up indeed. 100% hit the baby oil that they have in pro wrestling. Good Lord. That's the nicest thing anybody's done. That's so sweet. Well, thank you, Cam. I appreciate that, man.
Glad you like it.
I'd love it. If anything else, if this doesn't necessarily fit my giant ass head, it's going to go in my office somewhere. So like maybe like somewhere in the background.
Perfect.
Like,
yeah.
Dude, this is so dope. Okay. Well, I have to show you more pro wrestling moves now. So there is that. Hey, like, comment, and subscribe. And let's put it this way. If you made it to the end of this video and you haven't commented on something or you didn't know what you wanted to comment on, what we're going to do is we're going to ask you, what is the most offensive thing you have done to your partner that didn't involve a submission? We learned that this man literally farted and literally thought that it's a cool thing to beat up his friend while also hitting a triangle with extra reinforcements there. So I'm going to ask you to put that in the comment section. Additionally, you can also check us out at patreon.com/grappling hour. If you go there, $5 a month, see these interviews 30 days before anybody else. And for a few extra dollars, see extra bonus content not available anywhere else, including a tape study, which we're about to do with his last fight. Additionally, my friends, last couple reminders, you can also get you some Grappling Hour merch. You can get any one of these on over at rafesparza.com/merch. And last but not least, you can also get you our Discord. Yeah, our Discord. And that is at Grappling Hour. You know, just this threw me off because I was like, wait, what did we talk about before we even got this? What were we even mentioning? Ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here at the show. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.
Perfect.